Good morning from the autumn garden in the mountains. I'm here to share a hopefully not too long morning garden tour. Might be a little rough. So have a seat, pour a cuppa, something, and join me for the sights and sounds in the garden. I just love to share this, and I want to share why, but maybe you are struggling or homebound or missing a garden you used to have. So I just love to share this glorious beauty and talk about God's faithfulness and heavenly homesickness. So the garden is definitely changing into autumn mode. The sunflowers are heavy and droopy with seeds. There are so many birds. I hope we get to see some while we sit here. You can hear them, but they love the sunflowers. So everything is really still thriving, but changing into autumn mode. Over the weekend we did a ton of spring cleaning, which is a little late in the autumn, but it sure feels good. All the windows are clean, inside and out. The mirrors, the shower doors, everything clean. Baseboards, floors. And I'm still sorting and unpacking from my big move, which is another story. Another vlog is about that. And I'm excited to get it all done and get squared away and get back to being creative. But for now, it's been sorting, moving, packing, unpacking, and neglecting the garden, but that's okay. It has managed on its own. Almost all of this, I planted a few seeds, but almost all of this is volunteer, even in the greenhouse. Almost all of that is perennial or volunteer. And it goes down below the house. And we're planning some big changes for next year as far as our landscaping. So this is our huge grapevine. It's one vine. It grows up over the roof. It's about 25 years old. There's one stump there. It was a runt stump from Walmart about 25 years ago. And on the other night we picked all of them. Last year we got 27 pounds. This year we got 22. And they are more delicious than ever. And yesterday I squeezed all of them by hand, and they're in a wine making bucket with an airlock. Oops, I'm sorry. And we've made wine before and it wasn't great, but we're trying again. So I've been thinking a lot about, I woke up and looked out the window and I was thinking about the words to the song by Stephen Curtis Chapman, And James Isaac Eliot, my Redeemer is faithful and true. So I'll try to remember to link, but if I don't, look up on YouTube Stephen Curtis Chapman and watch that song and listen to the words. But it starts, as I look back on the road I've traveled, I see so many times he carried me through. And if there's one thing I've learned in my life, my Redeemer is faithful and true. And it goes on to say what he says, everything he has said he will do, and every morning his mercies are new. My Redeemer is faithful and true. And it's true. And looking at all of this, looking out over where we have been blessed to live, I think about and love the verse, Psalm 16:6, that says, and this is from the Amplified Bible, it says, "The boundary lines of the land have fallen for me in pleasant places. Indeed, my heritage is beautiful to me." And this is because of my nail in a sure place. There's a verse in Isaiah that says a nail or a peg in a sure place. So steady and true our Redeemer is, and then there are faithful people in our lives that are steady and true. In my life, that's my husband. We are watching, somehow we came across this vlog about a couple from Norway that they looked and looked for something they could afford because they wanted to live in Norway, or they've already done 2 places in Italy. I'm going to leave this. I'm not going to edit this. I usually do, but this is going to be for real. So this couple from Norway wanted to find a place to call home in Italy on the Amalfi Coast. And they found, sorry, that's too much of my face. They found an 800-year-old ruin that they are going to make home. It's wild. She's an architect, and so the vlog is amazing. I will link it, but oh my word, it's on the coast of the Amalfi Coast in Italy. I can't speak very well, but and it is so gorgeous, and it's steep, steep, steep down to the sea. So everything is these stepped gardens, and it almost looks impossible, but apparently it's worth it because of the climate there, and they grow their famous lemons and olives and things like that. So this ruin was buried under hundreds of years of growth, overgrowth, and time and weather. It's amazing. So we're going to be following that and their progress and everything, but we were watching that, and then the next morning we came out and sat over on our hill and looked down at this, which has taken us over 30 years to build and change and fix and grow, but it is such a blessing. And I think constantly about that and how it came to be. Yesterday was my dad's birthday, and he's been gone since 2017, and his passing was absolutely horrific. So it's not fun to remember. Just we've known so many horrible losses, and his was one of them. But he moved our family up into this valley in 1978 from the little mountain town that we lived in up into the mountains. And then years and years later, after my husband and I had been married about 10 years, my dad needed help in his business and my husband needed work. And long story short, they ended up partners in business for about 12 years. And that went bad finally in the end. But in the meantime, we were looking for a piece of land to build a house on for our little family of 5. And he said, I have land. And a couple of years later and a couple attorneys later, to get this little tiny corner divided off, he signed it over to my husband, and he told him, you've more than earned it. My husband was the longest continuous relationship my dad ever had that someone didn't leave him many, many times over. And that's my steady and true husband. Patient, loving, caring, giving, just really faithful and patient and steady and true. So even though my dad never really liked me ever at all, I believe he loved me. He provided, and food and clothing and warmth. But as far as me, he didn't really ever like me. So being here and that verse talking about the boundary lines and beautiful, pleasant places, God uses whatever he wants to make happen what he wants exactly. So here we are. It had nothing to do with me ever, and everything to do with my faithful and true nail in a sure place husband. So here we are in this beauty, and I'm thinking about the longing for beautiful places, for travel, to go to places like France and Italy and England and Ireland, Scotland, and why people do. I believe those are glimpses of heaven from God, and that it is heavenly homesick, and we long for those. In The Weight of Glory, C.S. Lewis said, he describes longing for a far-off country, and the scent of a flower we have not found, the echo of a tune we have not heard, news from a country we have not yet visited. And in Mere Christianity, he talks about a desire for something no earthly experience can satisfy, and indicates that we were made for another world. Earthly joys are seen as signposts, not destinations, intended to awaken longing for our true country. He warns against worshiping earthly beauty, as it cannot fulfill this ultimate desire and will ultimately disappoint. I feel like I have heavenly homesickness all the time, and everything beautiful that we long for, and all of these glimpses and signposts are heavenly homesickness. Can you imagine what it's going to be like? So that's why I love to share this, or any beauty I can find anywhere. Isn't that kind of him to help us long for our true country. So we were watching that amazing story of this couple. Sorry about the wiggles. This is just the real deal. Watching that amazing vlog about that couple redoing that ruin, 800-year-old ruin on a coast in Italy, and uncovering it and revealing this gorgeous stepped garden, or at least part of it. Anyway, some friends walked up the next day and kind of looked around here, and they were kind of stunned, it looked like. And they said, this looks like an Italian garden. And it's actually really small potatoes. We just made sure it was a small area that we could manage up here in the high altitude of the Rocky Mountains. So I even have a sunflower in my hair right now. Have a chandelier in the garden. Highly recommend it. So it's beautiful and fresh and crisp and clean. And I love all the birds. They're kind of being shy right now because I'm out here, I guess. But when I watch out the window, they're everywhere. I need to figure out a better method for holding this and sharing. So even though we have been through our 43 years of marriage, and even a lot of years before that, 5 when we dated before being married, we've been through a lot of really horrible losses and very broken things. And it still continues. Just like God says will happen, we will be mocked, ridiculed, despised for our faith, for standing true, firm, steady. There goes a bird. People want you to stop it, to just be part of the cult of nice and be like, you know, come on, just live it up. Don't be such old fuddy-duddies. So you'll be mocked, ridiculed, despised. People will bear false witness. People will go on PR tours against you. But God is faithful. When He puts you in a place for a long, long time, the right people know really who's who. And it just takes time. God's perfect timing for everything to be revealed and come into the light. Excuse me. Very, very allergic to myself in the mornings. So just like God says, we will be accused of horrible things. We might be estranged from people for a while till things wash out and the light reveals everything and everyone's true colors are fleshed, including ours. We make mistakes, we miscommunicate. There's a lot of misunderstandings. But people we have found will not be honest. They'll be honest with everyone else about all these situations, but hardly ever, ever, ever honest with us. But we're not supposed to be surprised, right? Our Redeemer is faithful and true. He says how things will be and to not be surprised. And in the meantime, he gives us signposts and glimpses. So I'm just going to share the beauty of the garden a little more, and remember how faithful our Redeemer is, and enjoy heavenly homesickness because it's very, very temporary, he says. Next up on Inklings Femina, I would like to talk about something that I am so glad I learned. And people used to know it really, really well, but knowing our place in the scheme of things, in God's design of things. When we know our place, everything is really beautiful. But when we refuse to, it's mass chaos. When there's disrespect and when people think that there is nothing above them, no authority above them, that they are God, basically. It's just mass chaos, and it hurts everyone around them. So that's up next, talking about knowing our place. It's not a secret. And it's a beautiful thing. And remember that if God removes you from a table, it might be because he's overturning it. So I'm going to share a little bit more of this gloriousness. Those are the sangre de Cristos, the blood of Christ. And in the morning and the evening, they're red in the sunrise and sunset. So a lot of things are already dried out. And our little wind, whatever that thing is called, I can't think of it right now. Our little pig flying is bent, crooked in the wind. There's a little hummingbird. I just love how the morning glories climb, and I love zinnias. And there's our straw bales down there. Can't even see them, they're so covered up with pumpkins and zucchinis. Can you hear the birds and the creek down below? So that's kind of a mess. It's greenhouse that collapsed in the snow last year, so now the top is off. Anyway, we have a lot of fun plans for changes for next year. This has been this way for a long time. There's a sunflower that completely collapsed in the weight of the seeds. This is my favorite rose. There it is. Excuse my head. Cosmos. Love it, love it. Trying to figure out where the camera is on this thing, because I'm kind of holding it backwards. And I love this. These red roses and the purple morning glories climbing it. Such a pretty combo. I was so excited because in the greenhouse, I thought I was growing some pink, that's funny. I thought I was growing some pink sunflowers because the seeds said they were pink sunflowers. Well, they're not. They were not pink sunflowers. So thank you for joining me in the messy fall garden, talking about how faithful our Redeemer is and heavenly homesickness. Please like, share, subscribe, join the comments. Bloopers included. And I will be back next time.